Hello, welcome back to Learn Anatomy with Dr. Vessel, and today we'll look at a very important topic, which is the ossification of upper limb bone, and this will be the part one of this series. Now, ossification is the formation of bones from precursor tissue. The formation of bones from precursor tissue. Now, we have two types of ossification. We have the intramembranous or membranous ossification and endochondral or intracartilaginous ossification. Now, for intramembranous ossification, it develops from the mesenchymal connective tissue, and there is no cartilage model. There is no cartilage model. It develops from the mesenchymal tissue, and there is no cartilage model for this. Now, the mesenchymal tissue forms the mesenchymal connective tissue form the osteoblast. Now, the osteoblast lay down the osteoid. Now, the osteoid will calcify to form the bone. So, the precursor tissue for intramembranous ossification is mesenchymal connective tissue. For endochondral ossification or intracartilaginous ossification, the precursor tissue are cartilage because there's a cartilage model for this. There's a pre-existing cartilage model that helps to form bone. So from the cartilage, it moves directly to form a bone. Now with this simple mnemonic, you can remember intramembranous or endochondral. The letter M in membranous and the letter M mesenchymal can help you remember that membranous ossification comes from mesenchymal connective tissue. Now the letter C in intra-ossification can help you remember that the ossification comes from cartilage model. Now the next we'll be looking at is ossification centers. Ossification centers. We have two types of ossification centers. We have the primary center and we have the secondary center. Now the primary center are the ones that appear first. It appears first. It is usually seen in the diaphysis, that is the chaff of a bone. And if it appears first, it means that it will appear during intrauterine life, as during pregnancy. It appears during intrauterine life, which is meaning during pregnancy. Now, for it forms the diaphysis. I told you that it's usually in the chaff, so it forms the diaphysis. It appeared during uterine life, and it formed the diaphysis. Now, for secondary centers, it appears after birth. It appears after birth. It forms the epiphysis, and it is responsible for the growth. It is responsible for growth in length. I have two mnemonic here that can help you remember all these high field points I've just said. The first mnemonic here is primary center before pregnancy. P for P. Primary center comes before pregnancy end. Before pregnancy end, that's where the primary center comes. It appears in the intrauterine life. Now for secondary center comes start of life. S for S, start of life. Secondary center comes start of life, while primary center comes before pregnancy ends. Now the second mnemonic is from the word secondary center. If you look at the word secondary center, the first two letters is SE, secondary. Now the first S will represent our secondary center, while the next E represents epiphysis. So the secondary center form the epiphysis. Therefore, if the secondary center forms the epiphysis, it means that the primary center will form the what? The diaphysis. Now this secondary form the epiphysis, it means that the primary center will form the diaphysis. So with these two mnemonics, you can remember the high yield points I have said about ossification centers. Thank you for watching.